All right, I'm so sorry about that, guys. It was either Facebook or it was my internet. I have no clue. And so I'm back. We'll see if those of you that were on hop back on, but I apologize for that. Xfinity, man. Like, I tell them every single time that they're over here, like, give me the best internet that you have. And apparently that's the best they got. What's up, Chris? I'm sorry about that. Like I said, it was my internet. I don't know what's going on, but my internet fails me sometimes. And every single time that Xfinity comes here, I tell them, like, hey, give me the best internet you got, like the best thing you got. And this is I guess the best they got. But Xfinity, it kind of drops me. Yeah, I know. That's why I had to redo it, Chris. All right. So for those of you watching, I'm not going to waste any time, and we're going to get right into this thing. I truly believe that there is no place for us to have 20-minute discovery sessions. It's something that's being for some reason decided that it was a good idea. I'm not exactly sure why, right? And so I'm going to explain my thought process around that, and then also why I think there's a better way of doing things, and I'm going to share that with you as well. So 20-minute discovery sessions. For the three of you watching, are discovery sessions something that you do? Give me a yes or a no in the comment section. So for those of you watching, are discovery sessions something that you do? Put a yes or a no in the comments, because I want to know who I'm talking to here. Jordan, thank you for watching, man. For those of you watching, for who performs discovery session, and don't be scared to say so. I'm not gonna rip you apart. I just want to know. 5 feet. That's okay. So for those of you watching, not yet. Okay, not yet for Andrea. David, yes, but not consistently. Have not yet from Chris. Yes, I've done them. Okay, so for those of the done discovery sessions, yes, Luke's done them. What do you feel like you're able to accomplish in 20 minutes? Nice. I like that, Daniel. I like that a lot. Meeting people for coffee. But what do you feel like you were able to achieve in 20 minutes? In 20 to 30 minutes. That's a typical discovery session, right? I'll kind of wait for some people to answer. Took it from your book. Nice. Do you feel like you were able to be effective in 20 to 30 minutes, or does it feel rushed to you? Either on the phone or in person. 20 minutes, not a whole lot. Okay. All right. Transfer trust. If you're damn good, Chris, if you're damn good in 20 minutes, yeah. And so I'll just get in with my opinion, and you guys tell me your thoughts as well, because obviously, I want to hear your thoughts. I've used them as a seamless transition into a paid visit same day once I'm convinced. Okay, good. Awesome. So they may work well for you, but I'll tell you that they have not worked well for me, and I'll tell you what has worked really well for me. So I can only speak from my experience and what I've seen with my clients. But from what I've seen with discovery sessions Belisa, I'm not telling you that you shouldn't do them. I'm telling you my opinion as to what I feel like has worked for me. But here's my thoughts about discovery sessions, and I'm just going to lay it out there. If it makes some of you mad, that's okay, but this is my thoughts, okay? Discovery sessions, what is that actually? So it is a good way to get to know a patient. But for me, I'm always trying to basically see what is the best way for a patient to truly get to know me and for me to truly get to know them. For me, 20 minutes, 30 minutes has never been enough. If it's an hour long, that's not really a discovery session. That's more like a free evaluation. Hey, Ron. But a 20 to 30 minutes in a discovery session for me has never been enough time to genuinely get to connect with that patient, to genuinely get to know that patient, to genuinely actually see if they're a good fit for my practice, and then vice versa, see if they're a good fit for my practice. It's almost like rushing into things is what I truly believe. So what I like to do is I like to allow more time for that relationship to develop. More time for that relationship to develop to actually turn into a long-lasting relationship. Whereas if we're starting our relationship with our patients with this free 20-minute discovery session, guys, that's the popular one out there. I'm not just making this up. 20-minute discovery sessions. And actually, if you go to my website, freedomptconcierge.com, you will see 20-minute discovery session. Because I was told to do that. I was told by multiple therapists it was the way to go in your own private practice. I was told by many people that it was the way to do things. And so I just took their word for it in the beginning of my practice, and I slapped that bad boy up on my website, right? Slapped it up there because I was like, yeah, that's the way to go. I can see that. I can see that. Just a little taster session for my patients, right? Just a little taster. But that's not really giving any value just having a little taster session. That's like going into a date and not actually getting to know them. David, the bachelor. That's like going into a date, not really getting to know them and rushing into this whole dating process. We want to take our time and get to know each other, right? I want to see if you're a good fit for me, and I want you to see if you're a good fit for my practice. If you feel like you vibe with me, and we're going to be able to have long-term success here. But I feel like a 20-minute discovery session is a very quick way to say, I don't have too much time. I'm only going to give you 20 minutes of my time. That's it. We're going to jump right into this thing. And this is just a way for you to see if you want to move on to that paid visit. And so for me, it's never made sense. It's never made sense for me whatsoever because it's just jumping into, well, how can we get you quickly into a paid visit after that 20-minute session, after that 30-minute session? For me, I feel like I've always had to listen to that patient more, talk to that patient more, talk to them more about what their problems are in order to ever go into a paid session. Ever. Like, I don't want them to go into a paid session and then unless they truly feel like I'm the guy that's going to be able to help them. So I want them to be able to unload everything that's going on in their minds, everything that they're having problems with, everything that they're going through with their injury or problem, and I want to be able to listen to them first, then give them a plan of action of what I truly feel like I can actually help them with. And so for me, that can't be accomplished in 20 minutes. It just can't. Like, it really, really can't. And if you disagree with me, please let me know. I knew this would be a subject that maybe some people would disagree with. I am by no means, I would love to hear your guys' opinions on this. But for me, that's just not enough time to create a genuine relationship with a patient and to move on to the next step. It's not enough value. And this is the part that I've always really struggled with is, okay, we put 20-minute discovery session up on our website. Why would a patient scrolling through, looking at our website, look at that and say, wow, what a value? You know, man, that 20-minute discovery session, like that's exactly what I needed. And so my usual goal is to get somebody on the phone so I get to talking with them and then get them into an evaluation. Maybe some value in not just converting them right away, but proving your expertise so that you're in front of their, oh, come on, open up the see more option. Oh, there we go. So that you're in their front of their mind in the future. Yeah, I mean, that's true. That's definitely true, Jordan. But I think, again, trying to prove your expertise, for me to have the adequate amount of the effect that I want to have on a patient, I know that I've got to be able to listen to that patient and actually truly listen to that patient, to what they're going through, their problem, their stories, maybe the experiences they've had in the past with physical therapy. I want them to be able to get all of that out first. And so I just don't feel like it's enough time to be able to genuinely talk to a person and then also prove my expertise or prove to why I am a good option for them. And so this is what I've done. Again, I think it shows a lot more value up front to a patient in order for them to buy into a true long-term plan of care. I don't like the 20-minute discovery sessions because it feels rushed to me. It doesn't feel right. If I had a brick and mortar practice, it may feel a little bit more right to do something like that. But again, it's also saying I've only got 20 minutes to talk to you. I've only got 20 minutes of my time to get to know you. And I just don't like that. I like my patients to feel like they've got more time to chat with me, talk with me what their problems are and how we can fix those problems. Not giving them the action steps in that visit, but actually just talking with them, having a true conversation with them. David Bailiff, who's on, we just did a podcast about this tonight. And something we talked about is, I think a lot of us as physical therapists, me included, have a listening problem. I'm going to say that again. A lot of us as physical therapists have a listening problem. We get too in our heads about trying to prove as much of our expertise as quickly as possible that we don't take the time to actually listen to our patients. How about 43 minutes? So, Belisa, that then turns into basically what I'm about to get into. That basically turns into a free evaluation, right? What's up, Katrina? What's up, Chelsea? What's up, Belisa? So if we're going longer than 30 minutes or so, then that's basically what we would consider an evaluation then, right? And so when I get a patient on the phone, this is exactly what I explain to them. I get them on the phone, they're interested in my services. That's usually where it all starts for a lot of us, right? Or you get a word-of-mouth referral and you get them on the phone. Or a doctor referral, you get them on the phone. Or they find you on their website, you get them on the phone. Like all those multiple resources usually end or start with a phone call. And so this is what I've started to do in my practice over the last 3 years that has significantly turned into more clients actually finishing their plans of cares, more clients actually turning into paid clients. And that is, we get them on the phone, we talk to them. Obviously, they may talk to us about some of their problems already on the phone, but basically tell them, look, this is how I do things in my practice, is I want to get to know you, and I want you to get to know me. I feel like you should get to know me before you ever decide to give me money. I want you to decide if I'm a good fit, and I want to decide if you're a good fit for my practice before we ever move forward. And so I would like to basically set up an evaluation for you. And I'm not going to charge you anything for that. Because I want to get to know you and I want you to get to know me. And we don't even know if we're the right fit for each other yet. You've told me some stuff on the phone already. I kind of have an idea of what's going on. But I want you to decide if I'm the right fit for you. And I want to decide if you're the right fit for me. And see if we're the right fit to move forward and tackle this issue. Is that fair enough? I'll literally ask them on the phone. Is that fair enough? Cool. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to basically set up an evaluation, but honestly, I just want to get to know you. I want to get to know you better, and so let's set up that evaluation. I'll get them on my schedule and say, I just want to get to know you better. How does that sound? 9 times out of 10, they will tell me, that sounds great. That sounds really, really good, Josh. Wow, that sounds awesome. Like those are all the responses that I get from that. And so it's not offering that 20-minute discovery session. I am actually on a regular basis offering an entire free evaluation for free. And that's why the 20-minute discovery session drives me nuts. Because it's basically, like, to me, it's basically saying that we're worried of spending too much time because we're worried it might be a waste of our time. But if you're on the phone with them and they sound like a cool cat, a cool person, let's get them in person and see if we're good, if we jive with each other. Let's first see that, and I will tell them on the phone, look, I want you to see if I'm a good fit for you before you ever give me money. So it's setting up this relationship and telling them, look, this is how I want to do things before we get started. This is how I do things in my practice. And so I'll get them in for that evaluation process. We'll get them in for that free evaluation, and I just want to get to know that person. And I will take a full hour to get to know that person and to get to know them on a deeper level. And then I don't know if all of you do this, but I use SFMA for my screens, for my evaluations. So evaluations don't take me longer than 10 to 15 minutes. And so 45 minutes is at least spent getting to know this patient and getting to know them on a deeper level before I even lay my hands on them. And that's actually what I'll say in the very beginning of the visit is, hey, let's just find a comfortable spot to sit. Let's talk. I don't even want to lay my hands on you for the first 45 minutes. Is that fair enough? Like, I just want to get to know you. Is that cool? And we'll start with that. Same, I do a vow during the discovery section. Makes total sense. Big value add on the front. Exactly, yeah. So you hear a lot these days about giving value up front. It's honestly what you have to do in today's market to get people to trust you. And what we're trying to do is build trust with these patients from the very get-go. And so I just do not feel like 20 minutes is enough time. I don't feel like 30 minutes is enough time. And I don't feel like that's enough time to build trust. That's my personal opinion. Again, if you disagree with me, let me know. Let's talk about that, okay? But I genuinely think giving that big time value up front, having more time to talk with that patient, having more time to build a connection, and then going into talking with them what you truly feel like their plan of care is going to look like after you've listened to them. So again, we have a listening problem as physical therapists. If you can just listen to them, get to know them first, then we can go into talking about what it's going to look like to work with us. And I'll actually ask people at the end of that 45 minutes of just getting to know them and talking to them, very relaxed, chatting back and forth. I'll even ask them, I'll say, so what do you think? Are you interested in moving forward? Do you feel like I'm a guy that you could work with? I'll kind of like joke with them. And that's just my personality. And that's, you do what you want to do. But I'll say, do you like the way that this is going? You cool if we go into kind of more like the hands-on evaluation process? You cool with that? Oh yeah, absolutely. You seem like a cool guy. So again, I get that a lot. So we've established that relationship. And I'll even ask, like, are you cool with moving forward? You feel like I'm a guy that you could work with? Cool. All right, let's move forward. Let's go through the evaluation process. SFMA. Don't you need a special cert for that? Well, apparently, yeah. I guess you do need a special cert for that, Belisa, but I was just trained by that, at different clinics that I worked in clinicals, and then going into private practice. That's what everybody I surrounded myself with was doing. So I just learned SFMA. I don't have a certification in SFMA. You can actually, Belisa, you can search top tier SFMA, and it's a great way to screen people. But then there's kind of breakouts that you can do with it. I'm not going to get into SFMA too much, but anyway, it's a great way to evaluate people because it doesn't take too long, and you can get down to the root of their problem. But I truly feel like that most people's problems can be addressed most of the time just by listening. We're very skilled at our differential diagnosis processes, even coming right out of school. Like, just listening is the most valuable tool as a physical therapist before you lay your hands on, before you try and work some magic, right? And so I suggest everybody that I coach to do it this way, the free evaluation way, the way that a lot of therapists out there say, oh no, don't do that because you're undervaluing yourself, right? Don't do that because you're undervaluing yourself. Have any of you guys heard that for free evaluations? You're undervaluing yourself. Okay, maybe, I don't know. I don't even want to address that. But what about the value that we're giving to the patient? That's my only concern. What value are we able to give the patient from the very, very beginning? I don't even care if I'm undervaluing myself. I think they're going to come out of that session being like, this is the guy that I want to work with. That's my goal at the end of that free evaluation. I want them to come out of that and say, I want to work with this dude. Like, this plan of care that he just laid out, it may be expensive, but I want to work with this guy. Like, that's my goal and so the best way you can do that is be the best listener that they have probably ever met in their entire life. That's how you can do that. Listen to them. Daniel, oh man, that drives me nuts. The $180 for the eval and the $100 for a treatment. You're gonna make me go on another tangent, Daniel. But that drives me crazy. Like, it's your time is your time. Your time is your time. Your expertise is your expertise, right? Shouldn't matter if it's an evaluation. It shouldn't matter if it's your treatment. Your expertise is your expertise. Your time is your time. Charge for your time. What is your value for time? And when I was first starting, Daniel, I had people that told me, well, you've got to do this because that's what other people do. You've got to do this thing where you charge more for the evaluation and then less for the follow-up treatment. Why? It's all our same amount of time. Like, why? Why can't it just be for my expertise? I charge $150 an hour across the board. Mine's $175 per visit across the board. Whether it's evaluation, follow-up treatment, whatever it is, $175 across the board. You assess and reassess every single visit. Exactly. So why is this being taught? And why are discovery sessions and why are those differences between the two? Why is that becoming the norm in physical therapy? Does anybody know why? Has anybody ever questioned why? And so for me, I was told to do this. I was told to put that discovery session on my website. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it. The only reason I haven't taken it off is because nobody ever clicks on it. And so it's just up there, but nobody ever clicks on it. Nobody ever has in 3 years. So I just keep it up there. I don't even bother with it. It's like my practice is doing very well. So let me look at some of this stuff. Insurance-based model and PT mile requires more paperwork for an eval. Yeah, exactly. So if you're a cash-based physical therapist, I'm clearly talking to the cash-based physical therapist here. Like, our time is our time. Evaluation is not that much different from the actual visit. And so they should be a flat fee across the board, right? But in regards to those 20-minute discovery sessions, for those of you just hopping on, I just don't think there's a place for those. I think we've got to be able to give our patients more value up front and actually get to know them before we ever freaking offer them, ever freaking have them pay us money. We've got to be able to have them give an opportunity to actually get to know us before they hop into a cash plan of care. Because guys, cash plans of care are expensive. Most of us are charging between $100 and $200 a visit. So if let's say you're just seeing them for 6 visits and you charge $175 a visit, that's over $1,000. That's an expensive plan of care. Before we jump into that type of relationship, we better get to know each other first. Just like dating, right? You never just jump right in, right? You want to get to know each other first. Then we'll say that we're dating. But we got to get to know each other first before we put on Facebook that we're in a relationship, right? We got to get to know each other first before we jump into that big step. It's the same thing with building a relationship in our practices. And that's why to me, a discovery session makes zero sense. That's basically telling them, I've got 20 minutes of time to give to you, but that's all I'm going to address to get to know you before we hop into a paid visit. What? Why? And then this free evaluation thing that it's undervaluing yourself. Why? You don't have to advertise it all over your website, but when you get that patient on the phone, you can explain to them exactly like I just explained to you, and it works, and people are like, wow, that's a great way of doing things. Is, hey, I want you to get to know me, and I want to get to know you and see if we're a good fit moving forward, and if I can actually help you moving forward. That's why I do a free evaluation, because I want you to get to know me before you ever decide to pay me. Chris, I do bill more for PT eval in the clinic, but not for cash or mobile PT, 125 visit every time. Exactly. So it does change quite a bit whenever you're cash. So I've kind of spit out everything that I have about this topic. Obviously, it gets me really fired up because it just doesn't make sense to me. I think a lot of you have kind of said that I think it stems from an insurance-based model that honestly just can't be applied to a cash-based model. It stems from that insurance-based model, and we're trying to apply it to a cash-based model, and I just don't think it works. I really don't think it works. It's just a rushed way of jumping into a paid relationship. And I guess you can do that in an insurance clinic because in most cases, maybe they're paying that $30, $40, $50 copay. But in most of these cases, they're jumping into a much bigger relationship with you, a much more. I mean, they're actually basically, they're committing to a much bigger commitment in these cash plans of cares, and so we've got to take the time to build that relationship first before we ever ask for money. Okay, so this is a practical question. I understand the purpose of the free evaluation, after which you let them know the plan of care you recommend at that point. Do you initiate treatment at that initial visit and collect payment, or start collecting payment and start treatment at the next visit? That's a good question, Tamika. Thanks for joining, Tamika. It was good to see you at SSPT, by the way. Do you initiate treatment at the initial visit? And so no. And so this is what I do, is the initial visit is for them to get to know me and for me to get to know them. It's for me to assess them, to find out what I think is going on. And then it's for me to lay out an entire plan of care with my 3 phases of care that I go through. It's for me to lay out that entire plan of care for them and let them know what it's going to look like to work with me. And then that also includes me talking about how much it's going to cost to work with me. They have to agree to that before I move forward with treatment. And so it's just like anything else. Think about a dentist visit. This is a great example. Would a dentist ever start operating until they collected that first payment? Right? Would they? Heck no. Are you kidding? Absolutely not. Dentists are the worst. Like, shoot, for this root canal back here, I think it cost me $1,500 for something they do on a regular basis, right? So what are my 3 phases? I'll go over that real quick. Mine are really, really simple. I don't have any fancy names. They're literally mobility, stability, and strength. And so I did this because I genuinely feel like for any joint injury that has a range of motion deficit, this is where you start. But obviously they may start in different phases, and that's why it's truly custom for every single patient. But if they have a range of motion deficit with, let's just say a hip, I start with mobility. We've got to actually mobilize that hip. Mobilizations, manipulations if needed, stretching, mobility. We've got to create that mobility first before we ever think about strengthening it or stabilizing that joint. So mobility first. And then I move into the stability phase. Stability, how I explain. Yeah, Life Clinic. Hey, Katrina, Life Clinic taught me a lot. So my 7 months with them was not in vain. Like, they taught me a lot, and it works. Mobility first. Stability. What is the point of stability? Stability is stability exercises to then lock in that mobility that you just gained in the mobility phase. Then once we gain stability in the joint, then we can fully strengthen the joint to our heart's content. But we can't fully strengthen the joint until we've mobilized, we've got the joint mobile to our satisfaction. We've stabilized the joint to our satisfaction. Then we can strengthen the living crap out of it. And so what I tell patients is just exactly this, is when you get to that strengthening portion, it's going to look like a personal training session with me. But in order to get there, we have to mobilize, we have to get you mobile. Then we have to move to the stability phase, and we have to stabilize that joint and basically lock in the mobility that we just gained. Then when we lock in that mobility that we just gained by creating stability in the joint, and how do you do that? By firing muscles around it, by doing balance exercises, by firing the muscles that are actually going to stabilize that joint. Once we do that, then we can move to the strengthening portion, which basically looks like personal training with me. Everybody knows what personal training is, and so that's they can actually understand what that is. So we move to that strengthening portion, and that will look like personal training sessions. And guess what? When you're actually doing the strength portion with a lot of your patients, and you're working through that plan of care, and they're making progress, guess what happens the majority of the time? They don't want to stop with you. They're like, hey, I'm making progress. Like, we can't stop now. We're in the strength phase, Josh. Like, we got to keep going. It's like, cool. Let's keep going. Let's continue at a one time a week, one time a week, and let's continue with strengthening. I'm gonna give you things to do in the meantime, but we've got to continue to strengthen if you want to basically make sure this issue doesn't come back in the future. And so that's my 3 phases, and that's how I explain it to patients, and that's how basically I get them to see the big picture in that one visit. And that is why I don't do any treatment on the first visit, because there's so much to cover in that first visit. I simply don't have time for treatment in the first visit. And so what I'll do is, in my schedule, is if I have a patient at 8 a.m., I don't schedule, and it's an evaluation, I don't schedule my next patient until 10 a.m. Because if a patient gives me payment after we talk about all of those things, then I will move into their first step, and I'll generally give them one exercise that I want them to start doing. But it's only after I've received payment. I want to know that they're locked in, that they're ready to roll, and they're ready to commit to this plan of care. Then when they're locked in, ready to roll, then we can move on to treatment. But one thing I want to say, one thing I want to kind of end this with is your patients paying you a good price for your service will be the best thing that your patient has ever done for themselves. Your patients paying you a premium for an extended plan of care will be the best thing that they've ever done for themselves, because you will actually get them to commit to a plan of care, and you all know that if you can get them to commit, especially financially, they're going to have better results in the long term. And so if that will actually be the best thing that you can help your patient to do, is to commit to that plan of care and say, look, this is how long it's going to take to get through the mobility, stability, and strength phases. This is how many visits it's going to take, and this is how much it's going to cost. All right, let's see. I need to stop treating on day one and have a legit system like this. Exactly. So this is having a system to your practice. And Chelsea, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm not calling you out, but I think there's a big difference between an amateur business owner and a pro business owner. Okay, amateur, pro. Amateur will give away their stuff right away. Pro will make sure that they're locked in and ready to go with this treatment before we move on. And my example is this. And I want you guys give me comments on this. Would a doctor ever at a dinner party hand out prescriptions for medications? Give me the answer in the comments. Would a doctor at a dinner party ever give out prescription for medications? For the 11 of you on, all 11 of you, give me a yes or no answer. Would a doctor at a dinner party ever give away a prescription for medications while they're at that party? 100, nope, by Andrea. Only if it was a super crazy party, okay. No, a cool one would. Okay. Hell no, okay. No, okay, exactly. So your exercises are your prescription, right? That's our exercise prescription. And so if we're actually a professional, we're going to give them our prescription when they've committed to that plan of care. But I think a lot of something that we like to do is we see somebody in a gym and we give them our advice, when all we really need to do in those situations is just listen to them. Hey, tell me what's going on. Tell me more about that. Cool. Yeah. How is it bothering you? Tell me more about that. What is it affecting you from doing? Just listen to them. When you meet somebody with a problem, in a gym or something like that, in a public setting like that, just talk to them and listen to them about what they have going on. It doesn't mean you have to immediately jump in and start giving them exercises to do. Just listen. And Chelsea, I'm guilty of this too. I am not saying that I've never done this. I've just learned to not do this, right? It has taken me a while. But I've done all of this. I've done every single thing, and that's why I get so passionate about it, because I've learned that there's a better way to do things. Chris, it's okay. It's okay. So, like, what I'm challenging you guys to understand is that a true professional, would listen to what they have going on and then say, I can help you. Set up an appointment with me. And even if that appointment is a free evaluation, it doesn't matter. We're not jumping right into paid visit. Even if you say, I can help you, go and set up an evaluation with me. And here's actually how I do things. It's actually going to be for free, because I want you to get to know me, and I want you to get to know me, and I want to get to know you and see if we're getting fit moving forward. And so again, turning professional is actually holding back on that prescription and having them come into a more professional relationship with you by setting up that evaluation, which they probably don't even know, but you will tell them is free. Chris, you're killing me. It's not amateur hour. This is just what I've learned along the way. And so, I'm still working towards trying to become more professional too. But once I started to listen to some of those scenarios, like a dentist or a doctor, it's just like, yeah, like they wouldn't do that. But we do that all the time as PTs. Why? Like, why? It's just like the way that we're trained to do things. So that's my thoughts. My exception is if they're in serious pain, then the relief is the sale. I agree, Chelsea, 100% of the time. I definitely agree with that. If they're in serious pain, like we have an obligation to help them, right? We have an obligation to help them and not say, hey, set up a free evaluation a week later. Of course, if they're in serious pain, freaking help them. Like that's what we can do. You should expect nothing in return. Like if a person is in serious pain, dude, give them what they need. But in most cases, people aren't in like life-altering pain, right? In most cases, they're just dealing with maybe something. Or they're dealing with some tweaks in the gym. Or they're dealing with that or this. We don't have to jump into giving them exercise prescription right away. Let's basically bring them into a more professional relationship and start from there and learn about them and see if they're a good fit for you and all that. Yeah. So those are my thoughts. Let me know if you guys disagree, if you agree, if you've got any questions. Like I love this topic and talking more about this because honestly, concierge practices are new for a lot of us, but I just don't think that a lot of the stuff that applies to brick and mortar applies to us. Any thoughts? Yeah, if someone comes in with an obvious deformity or a lateral shift, yeah, I mean, there's quick ways that we can help them with that, right, Chris? Those are problems. Those are different situations, right? And obviously, we're going to get these different situations that come in. But let's think about the normal things that we see on a regular basis. Some aggravating shoulder pain that's starting to bother them. Some aggravating knee pain that's starting to bother them. Some aggravating ankle pain that's starting to bother them. Some aggravating low back pain that's starting to bother them. Let's sit them down and learn more about them before we just start spouting off prescriptions for them. So that's all it is. I'm not trying to say that we're so wrong with everything we've been doing. This is just a different way of looking at things. And this is the way that I've been helped to open up my mind over the last 3 years to questioning everything that we're doing in brick and mortar practices. And can it actually be applicable to my practice? And what is the best way that we can make the best experience for patients coming into this personal level of care in a concierge practice? I will, Chelsea. Chelsea, set up a call. By the way, we need to chat. Set up a coaching call, and we definitely need to chat. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Please, if you're watching this replay, give me a hashtag replay. Give me your thoughts, even if you disagree with me 100%. Let me know. Like, it's all good. This is just what's worked for me most of my practice, and I've had a good amount of success. And I think this is what patients have responded really, really well to. So that's why I wanted to share it with you guys. But I understand that it might hit a few buttons for some people. But that's okay. Right? You guys have a great night. If you don't have any other questions, I'm going to hop off. And I'm going to go hang out with my little Hudson and my wife. See you guys.